Hello, welcome to Spotlight, a luminous glow of arty warmth.
Spotlight, brought to you by the Isle of Man Arts Council.
This evening, we chat to organist extraordinaire Jean Martyn ahead of her concert at the Villa Arcade tomorrow. Blow a storm with a special weekend for the Isle of Man Wind Orchestra and a brass masterclass for Rushen Silver Band. And a new dance offering at the ever-busy hub of the arts, KA or Kensington Arts. Remember, do get in touch with any creative artistic endeavours you may be involved in, planning, hoping to create, or would really like to put in the spotlight. Poetic, theatrical, musical, literary, brass, dance. Thought I'd mix it up. Lots of the others. Just email me, howardkane@maxradio.com, Kane with an E, or spotlight@maxradio.com. They both come to me. I read them all. I'd love to get in touch with you and hear what you're up to. We'll feature you on the programme. What have you got to lose? The one-woman whirlwind of the keyboard, who is Jean Martyn, organist, pianist, keyboardist, composer, and one of the most cheerful women you'll ever meet, who just loves bringing a little musical joy into people's lives. Will she be lighting up the Villa Arcade with her personality and her wonderful music with a concert on the mighty Wurlitzer organ tomorrow evening? Jean's played around the world in all manner of settings, been a star actor on Britain's Got Talent, played for films, royalty, raised thousands for charity, and streamed her music live every evening for 18 months during the pandemic, just to try and keep people going and give them a smile. I chatted to her when she dropped into the Spotlight studio earlier today, and she told me it had been some time since her last visit to the island.
It's sad, really, because I do love the island, and I've got connections with the island, as my maiden name was Watterson.
Ah, good.
And I know
name.
There's a Watterson Lane.
There is.
Yes,
there is.
But yes, I do love coming here, and I've made a lot of friends since coming onto the island. But circumstances and the status that I've suddenly acquired. In fact, this morning, one of my on my streams has reached 100,000 views this very morning.
That can't be bad.
So that's not bad.
That's
is it?
famous.
In 5 days.
That is very good going.
It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah. And you're very active there. And I know when we were talking to Judith, who's Judith Lay, your friend, and I know
Yes.
you know Judith very well, and she was saying, yes, and this was during lockdown, I think you posted something like every day for, what was it, 2 years?
I did 18 months of probably twice a day, an hour of music. Sundays I would do hymns and classical music, and then the rest of the week I'd do perhaps the 60s, the 70s, the 90s, the 40s, a genre of music from every era, so that there were all kinds of people listening, even status quo.
Good. Oh, that's a happy mix, isn't it? A bit of everything.
Yes,
a bit of everything.
yes.
And this was just really to keep spirits up, really. And
Well, it was, because I love to keep people happy. And in fact, someone asked me only yesterday, do you ever get down? Well, no, I don't really, unless something hurts me where, it's a sadness or a bereavement or something, and I feel for that person. Because when I was on Britain's Got Talent on the tour, my mum passed away when I was walking on the stage at the O2. And the end of my performance, Stephen Mulhern, who was the compere, said, Jean, tell the audience what's happened to you tonight. And I said, well, my mum's just passed away. And it just came out of me as though it was just a casual comment. And suddenly there was a hush, and the whole of the audience stood up and gave me a standing ovation after, and it was thunderous, it was just amazing. And I thought, well, my mum paid 2 and 6pence for my piano lesson. And here she'd be so proud of me if she knew I was standing on the stage of the O2. But music's been in my life, Howard, for years. I was 3 when I started on the piano. I was 15 when I did my first try on a Hammond. I was a church organist when I was 11. So my life is full of organs and keyboards and pianos, and there isn't a day goes by that I don't play.
And do you still like to play all three? Because obviously playing the organ is very different to playing the piano.
Yes, well, being a pianist first was a great asset. And of course, going on to the church organ, that helped me with going on to the electronic organ, particularly if it had got a 32 bass pedal board. So I just adapted. I mean, obviously on a theatre organ, you've got different tabs to on a church organ. But they are similar. If you put tremolants on, you can get tremolants on a church organ, so that sort of wobbles the sound a little bit. But yes, I just love everything with keys on.
And you were saying you're renowned for playing all sorts of different styles. Do you have a favourite style? I know you quite like the 40s and such like, but is there something that you really feel, this is my genre, this is my music?
I was trained with classical music, and I was also trained in jazz. And I can always remember my tutor. I was playing Beethoven, and he came into the practice room and he said, "Jean," he said, "will you stop rocking Beethoven?" Just after that song came out, "Roll over Beethoven." So of course, you see, I was there before, and then I was very privileged to have Johnny Dankworth as my tutor at the Guildhall.
Can't get better than that.
And jazz, I absolutely love jazz, and I write my own music as well. So tomorrow, when I play in the concert, I shall be incorporating some of my own stuff with a jazz feel. So,
fantastic. And you played at Ronnie's, I believe you played at Ronnie Scott's?
I did play at Ronnie Scott's, yes, just before I qualified. And that was amazing.
Great.
Amazing experience.
Now, you are going to be playing tomorrow evening, in fact, at the Wurlitzer, the mighty Wurlitzer down in the Villa Arcade. Tell us about that, because that is, I say it's mighty, it's almost like a sort of an orchestra in one, isn't it?
It is indeed, and I've had a long association with that instrument, because when I used to live in the West Midlands, that was housed in Sedgley, which was only 45 minutes from where I lived. So frequently I would go over there and play, and I've actually recorded on that instrument before it came to the island. And I also had dealings with where it was going to be placed. And one funny memory, actually, it went into Summerland for a short while. And I remember going, and I'd got the concert to do. When I got there, the cleaner opened the door and she said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yes, I'm looking for the Wurlitzer, please." And she said, "What's a Wurlitzer?" So I had to explain what it was and how it looked. And she said, "I've never seen it." Well, it was next to the ball pool, so it was always covered up. But now where it is, it's in a most magnificent place, and the sound and the acoustics, and it looks fabulous. And if there are people on the island who've never seen it, I would say come tomorrow, because you will be amazed. They used to be used years ago, for accompanied silent movies or in a theatre, just to be played as an instrument. Excuse me. But it's absolutely a magnificent sound.
And so is it a very different style to play the Wurlitzer, say, to playing a straight electronic organ? Or
well, some people say, oh, the Wurlitzer, you can only use it really for either playing for dancing, or people like it for nostalgia with the old-fashioned pieces like, let me give you an example, Butterflies in the Rain, which is sort of using the toy counter, which is all the little twinkly voices and the xylophones and whatnot. But I recently played in the Tower at Blackpool, and I go there and I play modern stuff as well. In fact, I even do jazz on the Wurlitzer, and people are amazed. How can you do that? So it won't be a boring concert where you're just sitting there thinking, "Oh, I wish this had finished," because I'm such a lively person. I've got to get it out there. And
do you like to chat with the audience as well as you go
along?
Oh
yes, I incorporate the audience, yes, especially if I'm playing Latin stuff. If I do the song Tequila, and then it gets that gap, and I say, "Where are you?" And they go, "Tequila!" So it's great. I like to use the audience as well.
And you mentioned the Blackpool Tower organ there, and I was reading you're the only lady organist there in the last 50 years.
Yeah, well, I'm the only lady to have recorded on
really?
it, actually.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I did do a recording on it, the Blackpool Tower Wurlitzer and me. And that was lovely, because actually on the day of the recording it was a bit nerve-wracking really, because we did it at night. The ballroom was completely empty. The only lights we had on was on the stage, and there was a pigeon sitting on top of a red velvet curtain above the stage, and everybody was worried that the pigeon, because it was open mics then, that the pigeon would either fly down or deposit something on top of me. It's quite, stay up there, pigeon. But he was very good. He tucked his head under his wing and he went to sleep, thankfully.
Well, listen, lovely talking to you. We could talk all day, I'm sure. So many fantastic stories there. Great concert. Just tell us again. So it's at the Wurlitzer organ, of course, in the Villa Arcade. It is Thursday evening.
Correct.
Open to all.
Yes, 7:30.
7:30. See you there, as they say.
Yes, I hope so. Lovely. Welcome to everybody, and please come, if you've only to say hello.
What a wonderfully cheery soul, as well as an amazing keyboard talent. It's bound to be a great night, all manner of different musical styles given her unique treatment on an equally unique instrument. Tickets are available, assuming it's not sold out, from villagaiety.com. There's a lot of great music to be had in coming days, as this very weekend there's a concert at the Villa Marina, I think in the Royal Hall as far as I know, as part of the 75th anniversary celebrations of Rushen Silver Band. Ahead of that, there's also a masterclass being held by a very special guest. Chair of Rushen Silver, Chris Weldon, told me more and started by telling me how the band had grown out of what had originally been the Serbi Concertina Band.
Yeah, indeed. It was a bunch of friends from the Serbi village, sort of the 1920s and 30s. They played the concertina and the mouth organ and a couple of accordions as well. Later on, a couple of drums were introduced. And then after the war, there was an advert in the Ports Mary Commissioners saying there was money available if people wanted to start a brass band in the parish of Rushen. And Rushen Silver Band was formed.
And it's gone from strength to strength ever since.
Indeed it has. The band has grown a lot. It's developed a lot over the years. We've got a fantastic training band with Balafes and Brass, and the senior band is doing lots of interesting work. The last couple of years we've actually won the entertainment class at the Manx Music Festival for the first time ever, and that's been a great achievement. The continuous development of the band as part of the community is really important to us.
And what do you think is the magic of the brass band to you? Because, obviously it's great music, but it always seems to be a wonderful sense of family within brass bands.
I think the background of the bands in the sort of the coal mining industry and things like that, the real sense of community around the band. So they play a wide range of music, which always gets different people involved. But being at the heart of the community, playing at community events, getting that community support is really important. It's where our audience comes from, but it's where our players come from as well. So being part of that community has always been in the brass band tradition.
And just, I said brass band there, can you actually clarify for those thinking, what's the difference then between a brass band and a silver band?
Well, that's a point of debate over many years. There's a bit of an argument that it's about whether you won prizes or not. So if you won silverware, you often renamed yourself as a silver band. But it's not entirely sure where that came from.
Shrouded in mystery, yeah,
Indeed.
Exactly. Well, listen, it is a very important year, 75th, and you've got, like I said, a concert coming up on the 19th of October, but also a wonderful guest coming over for this.
Yeah, indeed. So we wanted to do something to celebrate the 75th anniversary, and a concert was the obvious place to go. So we're at the Villa Marina. We're working with our good friends at Manx Concert Brass. We're going to do a concert where we'll play a bit, they'll play a bit, and we'll all come together. But just to make it a really special night, we wanted to get somebody over as a soloist, and I'm absolutely delighted we've been able to get Shona White over. A fantastic tenor horn player, played with all the big bands. So she's played with Brighouse and Rastrick, Black Dyke, the Yorkshire Building Society in their hugely successful 1990s period. She's played around the world. She's recorded CDs. She was the tenor horn player on the BBC Children in Need single A Perfect Day. Mm-hmm. So she's got all sorts of things. And as well as that, she's a brilliant soloist. She's a teacher and she's an adjudicator. So she's bringing those skills with her to the island, and she's going to play with each of the bands on the night of the concert, but she's also running a masterclass that is open to any brass players on the island. She's going to talk a bit about her career, about how she works, how she practices, some of her tips and techniques, but she's also going to give a chance for some people to have a bit of a play and give some feedback on how they might improve and develop their own playing. So that's going to be a really exciting morning. That's Saturday morning, 10 o'clock at the Manx Concert Brass Band Room on Derby Road.
And we should say, with all these things, of course, there's a great sponsorship helping in bringing Shona over and setting up the masterclass and the concert.
Yeah, we're delighted to be working with Dennis Wick, who are a manufacturer of brass mouthpieces and accessories and mutes. Shona is a Dennis Wick artist, and Dennis Wick are helping with the funding of Shona coming over. We're really grateful for that support, and it makes a real difference so that local bands like us can hold events like this.
So this is a wonderful opportunity for anyone, and better yet, as I understand, it's free.
It's absolutely free, so please come along. If you would like to play and get some feedback, it'd be really helpful if you could contact Rushen Silver Band beforehand, just so we've got an idea of numbers on that. But anybody's welcome to come along to the free masterclass. You'll be made very welcome, and we'll all learn loads, I'm sure.
And the concert in the evening, that's again open to all. It's not just for sort of brass band or silver band specialists.
Absolutely not. It's a wide range of music. So the concert's at 7:30 at the Villa Marina. Tickets are available through the Villa Marina box office. But if I give you a bit of a view, there's a mix of music there. There'll be some traditional brass band marches or pieces for brass band. But we've also got some Manx folk music. We've got some film music. And there'll be a little bit of Elvis in there as well.
Now, that is a happy mix, it has to be said. And just returning to the masterclass, you hinted at it there, but people thinking, oh, well, I wouldn't mind going along, but I'm a bit of a beginner, I'm not that good at something. Could they come along and get something from it?
Absolutely. Really open to all ages and abilities. Everybody will pick up something from this. Shona's actually a teacher professionally, so she teaches all ages in music, so she's really good with all standards of players. Will be very welcoming there, and even the most experienced players will learn something, and I'm sure young people will learn a lot too.
Sounds terrific. So just give us the details again. If people want to go either to the masterclass or to the concert or to both, best place to go?
So all the details are on the Rushen Silver Band Facebook page. Tickets available for the concert from the Villa Marina box office. And if you want to come to the masterclass, just turn up.
What a great opportunity for brass players to get some tips from the top, and a wonderful concert is assured.
Spotlight, brought to you by the Isle of Man Arts Council.
And if that wasn't enough music, the Isle of Man Wind Orchestra is also holding a special weekend early next month with an invited guest conductor. Deputy conductor of the orchestra, John Kinley, a super busy musician himself, of course, was nominated by the top brass to give us the details.
The Isle of Man Wind Orchestra was formed in the late 1990s. A wind orchestra comes under lots of names. It could be a wind band, a concert band, a military band, whatever you want to call it. It's that sort of format. So it involves wind instruments, clarinets, saxophones, flutes, brass instruments, trumpets, trombones, tubas, and percussion of all shapes and colours, drums and xylophones and what have you. So the wind orchestra was formed in the late 1990s as a vehicle really for people who played such instruments to come together to make music. There's a long history of brass banding on the island, there's a long history of a symphony orchestra on the island, but there wasn't a wind orchestra, so it was put together then. Been running very successfully since then under the directorship of Paul Dunderdale, and has competed, for example, at the National Concert Band Finals in the UK, has performed the length and breadth of the Isle of Man, and has had many guest conductors come and visit, and, as we said before, provides an outlet for wind, brass and percussion players to come together to make music together every Thursday at Moran School.
And you get a sort of mixed sort of clientele who are actually within the orchestra, as it were.
Absolutely. So there's a wide range of ages. So you have people from who are still at school in year 9, year 10, all the way up to people who are retired and have been retired for quite some time. And again, ranges of ability. You've got some people who've kind of just got past grade 3 in their Associated Board or Trinity exams, up to people who've been playing for a very long time, to people who are ex-professional musicians. And the lovely thing with it is it's very much a community organisation, so you will see those with more experience always helping those with less experience to get better.
So there's a weekend coming up in November. I think it's the 1st to the 3rd of November. Now, is this a training weekend, or is this a weekend to try and basically bring people and bring fresh blood into the group?
It's all of the above, really, Howard. So the Wind Orchestra have tried to do a training weekend every year since it was started. And the general objective is to bring over a guest conductor. This year it's a gentleman called Phil Robinson, who is a very, very well-known wind orchestra conductor throughout Britain and indeed throughout the world, a fantastic educator. And the idea of bringing somebody else in is to sort of introduce some new repertoire, maybe bring some new ideas, both for the conductor and for the band as a whole, and to provide some motivation, some new repertoire. It's open, obviously, to people who are regular members of the wind orchestra, but it's open to the wider musical community on the island. So if you play a wind, brass or percussion instrument, you would be very welcome to come. Come for as much of the weekend as you can. There's no compulsion to come for the whole thing, and there's certainly no compulsion to join and stay on afterwards. However, if you come for the weekend and you find you do enjoy yourself, then you'd be made very welcome to stay on afterwards.
Do you need to be a certain standard, be a good sight reader, that sort of thing?
Officially, no, but I think it would probably be wise to say I think you probably need to be about grade 3 standard or better to get anything out of it. We wouldn't want anybody to feel like they were out of their depth with it. And again, people get very hung up on, well, I haven't got any grades. That doesn't matter. If you we say grade 3 standard as a nominal starting point, but come and have a go. If it's not for you or it's too hard or whatever, we can work around that.
And what about, you mentioned repertoire there as well. Is there a sort of standard repertoire for groups like the Wind Orchestra? Is it similar to sort of the brass bands would play, or does anything go?
Again, there are lots of colours of wind orchestra and wind orchestra repertoire, really. For example, and I suppose the best way to describe what goes on is perhaps use the Isle of Man Wind Orchestra as an example, which plays a huge range of repertoire, perhaps not that dissimilar to what the local brass bands do. They obviously dip into the military band repertoire, and there will be marches and overtures and that sort of thing. The symphonic repertoire, again, orchestral works transcribed over for wind band. Popular stuff from jazz, from pop, from theatre music, all that sort of thing. But there are also bespoke wind orchestra pieces, which again really exploit the full tone colour of a wind orchestra, and in many cases provide quite a good challenge both to the performer and the people listening, and make very interesting music.
And you've been involved in the music scene over here for years, and of course for teaching and playing and drumming, and again, people will be very familiar with your face behind the drum kit at numerous settings. Yeah. It's one of those things that we often say on this programme, that for such a small community, we seem to have an amazing number of really good musicians.
I think the Isle of Man really, really punches above its weight as a musical place, and the number of people who've come to live here from the adjacent isle and further afield who have been quite stunned by the level of what we're able to do over here. And I think that's due to the fact we have got music running through our bones. We are a very musical island, but we've had, over the years, we've been so blessed with people who have been so inspirational to us to help the community and help young people make music. I'm thinking of people like Alan Pickard and his father before him, but there's lots more people like Steve Wortley, and lots of the teachers, for example, who used to be involved with the music service and are still involved with the music service, who can get out there, instill excitement and interest about music into both young people and more mature people, to just get up there and have a go and experience that wonderful thing that is making music with other people. My school wind band that I conduct always joke, and I always say this at concerts: if you learn a musical instrument, you will never be alone, and you will always have something to do. And long may it continue.
Absolutely. And just the magic dates then again, it's the 1st to the 3rd of November. Best person to get in contact with if people want to find out more, or what the details are, etc.?
The best person to probably contact would be Bev Quine, and the best way to get hold of her at the minute is through Facebook, through the Isle of Man Wind Orchestra Facebook page.
That weekend again, the 1st to the 3rd of November. To sign up to the weekend, go to weekend@iomwo.com. Just time to tell you about yet another wonderful offering from our friends at KA, where the art never stops. This time, something a little different, as it's dance, which is somewhat underrepresented on Spotlight. So it's wonderful to hear a bit more from the man in charge of the movement there.
Hi, my name's James. I'm Project Dance Leader here at Kensington Arts.
And yes, we've been to Kensington Arts numerous times over the years, and I can't remember actually specifically talking about some of their dance offerings. Is this new?
It's a new post at the moment for me. I've only been here a couple of months, but I've been working on all their musicals. We've just done Addams Family, the musical. We've also done Musical Mayhem. But now it's time for me to sort of move forward with my project. So it's called You Can Dance. It's on Thursday evenings at 4:15 to 5:30, and it's aimed at years 4 all the way up to 13. And it's just a contemporary dance session where we warm up, we build sequences together, and then we spend some time also creating movement, looking at how we use our bodies for tools of expression.
What sort of clientele do you get? Do you get a mixed bag?
We do. We've got some students who have danced before and have a bit of experience, and we get completely new people. The great thing about a session is, regardless of your ability or your experience or your age, there's something for you in that session. When we're building sequences, there's still something for you to learn, for you to develop. So it's really aimed at anybody. If you've got no dance experience, that's absolutely fantastic, because that's what we're really about here. We're about bringing dance and arts to lots of young people.
And I was going to say, can anyone dance then? Because I would class myself again. I've had a few attempts at it, and I think, you know what, I just can't dance.
No, I hate when people say this. Everybody can dance. The excuses you get, I'm not fit enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not coordinated. Anybody can dance. You've just got to come and embrace what we're teaching here and how we approach it. And we strip it right back, because everybody is coordinated. Quite a lot of coordination we actually have to teach ourselves. We were all taught how to walk. Nobody woke up or was born with the ability to walk. We're taught these things, and that's what we do. We strip it right back, and then we deliver it in a way that makes sense to people. So anybody can dance because of that. It's rubbish.
And what's your own background? Is your own background contemporary dance or ballet, or where do you come from?
It's mainly contemporary. I went to the Northern School of Contemporary Dance, but my first love now has become ballet. I think over the years I've developed into the technique, but contemporary always has a special place in my heart, because it is really designed for anybody. It's a great tool of self-expression, because any form of movement is self-expression, and that's what contemporary dance really embraces. That everything from boiling a kettle, that's a movement, using your hands, to throwing your leg up to your ear, they're all movements, and contemporary dance really embraces all of those and really utilises and works on them. So it's a fantastic form of expression.
And the classes, as you say, they are open to anyone. Just give us a reminder again if people want to get involved, or are the classes full already? I don't know.
They're not full at the moment because we've just started, but we're slowly building and developing, and it's great. The first session is free anyway, so come and have a try. It's open to anybody, as we've already said, and then after that it's just £3. You can book online, or just simply turn up and have a go.
I think James could almost convince me I could dance if he had enough time. Check out the details via the KA website, kensingtonarts.im. That's about it for this week. If you want to hear anything again, go to manxradio.com, download the Spotlight podcast, listen where and when you want. Why not try it whilst out looking for a bus? See you next week. Until then, look after yourselves, and whatever you're doing, be creative about it. Himo.